please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. Well, the pre-opening rates should be out in about a minute. The SGX Nifty is now up about 20 points. It should be a good start because Qs are positive. There's been FI buying, DI buying. There are shorts in the system, and of course, global markets have done well. Whether that sustains or not, we'll find out. Ashwani, so just to reiterate for our viewers, if we have start around the 10,180 on the Nifty futures, what is the first trade?
See, you have to be careful in, buying, and where you buy will matter. I think a retest of this 10,140, 150 and holding of that level will give you that buying opportunity. If you buy at 10,180, you are buying into resistance. So try to buy for a decline. Similarly, Bank Nifty, it closed, I think, the futures at 24,280. If it dips 80 odd points for some reason, early morning news, etc., 10,200 is the place where you want to buy, because today could still be range bound. While downside may have ended, you'll get protected from choppiness if you buy the decline.
Okay, buy the decline, that's important. We have only a few seconds for the markets to open, so we'll just wait by and check out. Today the rupee could be a bit under pressure. Keep that in mind, and that will also help the IT stocks. Okay, that's the first rate. It's looking like a very, very good rate. The coming in about 1% higher. I guess we'll have to allow the markets to cool a bit. It perhaps will not be as good. 10,260 is where the index is standing at this point in time. I think we'll wait. I don't know if you want to read these rates at all. It'll be better to just let it cool for a few minutes. The rupees opened a bit weaker, 65.23, and that should be positive for IT stocks. They already have a tailwind. And why should HDFC start at 10%? I mean, let's not read this.
Okay, just a couple of stocks in the news, perhaps something like a Greenply because of the demerger approval that's come in for the MDF unit. Greenply is one stock that could be in focus, but we'll wait by for these rates to adjust. And in the meantime, we'll also get you an update on what's happening with the commodity and the currency market this morning. Crude, of course, has been surging, as we all know. Manisha Gupta is here to tell us more. Hi, Manisha. Good morning.
Well, thank you for that, Sonia. Crude oil prices we've spoken about, but you have to take a look at the metal space as well. And there is some pause there after that sell-off that we have been witnessing in this sector for the last couple of days. But even then, the pressure is not off, because there are reports on how the US might be looking at new trade measures on Chinese imports. And that, of course, could hit the complex. There is strength in US dollar. You also have seen near-term increasing inventories in many of those metals. And the US interest rate hike is something that isn't going to augur so well for these metal prices. So when you look at copper prices, they are trading at around 3-week lows, rather 3-month lows. You are looking at 4-month lows for iron ore and steel prices also. There is pressure that you have seen come in for the zinc and nickel prices, both of these metals down by nearly 3% already into this week. So there is a bit of a pressure that has continued even now. Same is the case for the precious metal prices, where you have the gold prices that has been under pressure because of the dollar strength. You have gold prices now trading 4% off from its 2018 highs. Silver is 9% off from its 2018 highs, and we are looking at silver prices continue to decline. That one is trading at a 3-month lows in the Asian markets as well.
Okay. Thank you very much for all those details. So still a bit of mellowness in the metals market. That's the main message coming in from Manisha. Let's shift focus now to sugar again. The stocks are going to continue to be in focus as the government has scrapped export duty for raw and refined sugar to boost shipments. Mr. M. Manikam, Executive Vice Chairman at Shakti Sugars, joins us on the phone line. Good morning, Mr. Manikam. Thanks for joining.
Morning.
Well, is it profitable to export now that the duty is off?
No, not at all. No. The international market is around 20 rupees and our cost of production is at 34.
Oh, okay. So this is not going to make any difference to the domestic sugar price?
I don't think so, unless the government is willing to give a huge subsidy. But actually, I've been saying the nature of the problem is that we have increased the cane prices too much. So gave an incentive to the farmers to produce too much. So the best solution is actually to reduce the cane price.
Okay, local prices have fallen quite a bit over the past many months, right? I mean, what is the price currently and what's the expectation now?
Currently, it's about 29 and odd.
Okay.
So the world prices have gone down, and Brazil, I think, has decided not to export anything. They're just holding back the sugar because their cost of production or their alternate price of ethanol is at 17 cents. So they don't want to export 12.5 and all that. So it'll be a soft market. We need to wait. And probably the best thing is the government of India should take a buffer of about 5 million tons. And hold it, because if this is the case, there are areas of farmers, there'll be a shortage coming in the next couple of years. So it's best to create a buffer.
Yes, that is the worry, isn't it, Mr. Manikam? I mean, people are talking about a continuing rise in sugar output. Does this look like a long lean patch then for sugar companies? I mean, let's face it, the next 13 months we are also in election mode. So to expect a realistic sugarcane price, lowering of the sugarcane price may be tough.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So it's a 2-year patch that you're looking at of hard times?
Absolutely. In fact, the southern mills, we've had a very bad time because a good 2 years we had a drought. And now we are getting into a good, maybe a better weather, but the cycle is kind of turning down.
So in a surplus year of production, what kind of overseas sales can we expect on an average?
Normally not much, unless the government gives a subsidy and pushes the export. Because today we'll be making a loss of almost about 12 rupees a kilo if we were to export.
Yeah, you might as well said it here.
Absolutely.
What is the chances of this sugar buffer that you're talking about? Has ISMA approached the government? Have you got any commitments?
Nothing, no commitment so far. I think the ISMA is trying their best to get something done, but nothing so far.
All right, sir. Sorry for this rather unfortunate conversation, but thank you very much for joining us and giving us that perspective. It always happens when the sugar cycle turns. It's usually a 2 to 3 period, worse and worse times, because we are living in a country where we don't correctly price the raw material.
Oh, absolutely. Painful times for the sugar sector and for the stocks. I mean, most of these stocks have, moved to new lows. But let's move on to a CNBC TV18 exclusive. We understand from sources that the Modi Care program, the Ayushman Bharat scheme, is likely to be taken up for the cabinet not today itself. Timsi Jaipuria joins in now to give us more details on that. Timsi, hi, morning. What do you have?
Yes, as you rightly said, the Ayushman Bharat scheme is up for a cabinet not today itself. What I pick up from sources is that about 1,366 schemes will be included as recommended by DGHS, that is the Health Services DG, whatever they had proposed. About 1,366 schemes will be included in this scheme. And as we know already that the demarcation regarding how many people will get the benefits, how much will be the initial seed funding was already announced in the budget. And it's one of the biggest schemes, health insurance schemes that government is trying to put forward. And what I also pick up from sources that states have agreed to the 60-40 ratio for financing. So let's see what goes finally to the cabinet and what comes out as a final draft. But yes, as of now, states have agreed and Niti Aayog has put out a final draft for a cabinet not for today itself. I'll keep you posted.
Okay, Timsi, thanks a lot for joining us. So that's the word coming in on that. But let's get back to the markets now. Looks like it's going to be a good day, up almost about 0.6% on the index itself, and a lot of individual stocks moving up. Looks like some of the banks could move higher, names like ICICI Bank, etc. Ashwani, how do you approach this space now? The private sector banks, how would you trade them today?
Well, the banks are opening 160 points higher. Now that by definition means that you buy at the open, because this will now probably trap shorts. So whatever first dip you get, I think it would be worth buying into it. And basically it was clear from yesterday's action that the market is now finding support and is ready to take the other side. So just go ahead and buy into the Bank Nifty. Chances are today could be a big day, much bigger than yesterday, where the pullback rally kind of failed at the end.
Okay, so clearly you're not buying at 10,180 where the market appears to be opening. You're only buying the dip.
On the Bank Nifty, I would buy the open because Bank Nifty did not go up yesterday.
Oh, right.
So that, and probably there are more shorts on banks than anywhere else. So out there you are likely to get follow through. Nifty may hang around 10,180 a little bit, but the opening on the bank Nifty seems to be a bit more blockbuster.
All right, Alembic Pharma will be in the news this morning. The US FDA has inspected one of their formulation facilities at Panelav, and they've responded to the exchanges saying that they will inform the US FDA very soon with respect to these observations. But none of these observations are related to any data integrity or data integrity issues or repetitive in nature. So that's an important clarification coming in over there. But Sudarshan, any thoughts from your end on how to approach the banks now? Because this morning, at least in pre-opening, SBI is higher, ICICI Bank is higher, Kotak Mahindra Bank. Any trades here?
Well, I have suggested buying the Nifty at the open. And if I'm upbeat on the Nifty, I think private sector banks, I did speak about HDFC Bank. That would be my choice for the day, although all the 3-4 banks you've named could be bought into. It is likely to be a good day, at least that's the initial sign.
Ashwani, your big call for the day?
See, big call, while I would have thought of, probably an IT stock, but given the way, banks are behaving, you may actually see a lot of short covering on the banking stocks. So while the big call is, as of right now, is KPIT, you can buy that with a stop around 225, target of 242. But the way certain PSU banks kind of turn around when there's short covering, I think they may be bigger gainers than mid-cap IT.
Oh yes, there are of course Bank of India and IDBI Bank, which are the top gainers right now. Also keep an eye on BEML. Technical angle here as well. Yesterday the last closing rate was 1073, but because there was adjustment, so the closing rate is 1055, the adjusted rate. That does not matter much. The reference rate is 1073 on that one, and that is also starting about 2.5% higher. So that will be an interesting one to watch out for. Fortis is the other one where there's some bit of activity, so 1.5% higher. But it looks like early in the morning, at least there would be some short covering. But the problem is the market will open right in that resistance zone, 10,182, and that 20-point zone is the big resistance point. So let's see how it opens actually here.
Okay, so that becomes a hurdle for the market, right? The 200-day moving average. But Ashoka Buildcon is another one, by the way. It's been getting a lot of orders lately. And today in pre-opening, Ashoka Buildcon is up about 3.5%. Mitesh, anything in this infrastructure space that you like? These stocks have been bucking the trend. In general, Ashoka Buildcon has been in an uptrend. Anything that you would trade here?
See, I've not been tracking Ashoka Buildcon regularly, but the Nifty Infra Index is, possibly could be making a double bottom around the 3300, 3290 mark, and that will be confirmed over the next 1 or 2 days if we start getting past 3400 there. And then if that happens, I think then you will see a lot of infra stocks rally on the upside. So I would rather keep a watch on Nifty Infra Index, and if the pattern confirms, then possibly look at buying into large caps over here.
Okay, buying into large caps. So what are the large caps that you would be looking at? Apart from the ones that you mentioned this morning, we're also seeing names like Bharti Infratel up about 1%, Bajaj Finance is up 1%. What would top your large cap list now, Mitesh?
Yeah, on the infra side, I think Larsen & Toubro is one of the first names. Again, some good base building happening around the 1260, 1250 mark. IRB Infra is something which I would want to slightly buy on declines. I think, time and again, we have seen the stock bottom out around levels or closer to about levels of 200. So in case we get it closer to about 205, 210, I think that will be a good accumulation zone.
Okay. I just want to point that this is an important development, isn't it? This is coming from Sapna, and government looking askance at Ultratech, making a bid like this, which is disturbing the sanctity of the IBC process. I would think this a development like this is good, because we have to put a closure to the bids and the counter bids. So we'll have to see how this. It's not for a government official. It's ultimately at the NCLT's door. A tribunal has to decide, and the courts have to decide. Yeah. But nevertheless, this frustration with the process getting long drawn is understandable, and any pressure on getting it done quickly is welcome. Okay, still 2 minutes to go. Sudarshan, anything else now on your radar?
Well, LIC Housing Finance is a day trade on the buy side, and today try to avoid the shorts.
Okay. Mitesh, would you trade any of the banks? Ashwini was telling us that that's where all the shorts are. But Bank of India likely to open 3% higher. Of course, these are pre-opening rates. Union Bank 1.6 higher, Canara 1.5 higher.
See, I think a lot of these banks, and especially the PSU ones, Lata, I think are showing very oversold readings on the short to medium term chart, so likely to bounce back. So yes, I think I would keep an eye over there. Bank of India, if it starts getting past 104, 105, I think the rally should at least get up to 112. Maybe beyond that. Similarly, I think Canara Bank is also in that sense a very interesting take. If it starts getting past 262 to about 262, I think 280 could happen there as well. So play for a bounce back. Keep your tight stop losses once the reversal is confirmed on the hourly charts.
Okay. Well, we have Sapna Das, who broke this Ultratech story just a few minutes back. Sapna, you have only 30 seconds because the markets will open, but what are you picking up?
Hi, Lata. Good morning. Basically, the sense in the government quarters is a bit of a disquiet. Not very happy with the way Ultratech has put in this higher bid. The issue is not just about the fact that the bid is at a higher price, but the process that they have followed. So on two accounts, top government officials have very clearly indicated to CNBC TV18 that, the way this has been done, and there could be other, examples in the times to come, this subverts the IBC process, number one. And number two, also this, this so-called private arrangement that Ultratech seem to have with the defaulting promoter Binani, is not the way to look at things, because then there is no sanctity left in the IBC process. Why do you have the NCLT and the Committee of Creditors? So not been taken well by the government, and I'm not very sure that whether they will tweak the law in any case to, kind of entertain or accommodate it.
Okay. No, that will take a long time doing. Thank you very much, Sapna. It's quite possible that the NCLT itself will stop these kinds of long-drawn